Is Europe finished? The EU produces almost nothing the rest of the world couldn't live without, argued global tax expert Jimmy Sexton in a recent IMI column. But he says there's one specific terminal reason why. We'll walk you through his case, what Europe's own cybersecurity chief admitted out loud, and what his argument means for anyone considering a plan B inside the EU. In Sexton's view, Europe's addiction to rules is no secret. Brussels regulates things that don't need regulating. They mandated USB-C chargers across the bloc. They capped the wattage of vacuum cleaners. Speaking of caps, they went out of their way to ban detached bottle caps. When they do regulate something worth regulating, like personal data privacy, Sexton says they make a mockery of it. Take the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR. It was meant to protect consumers online and shield the identities of beneficial owners of companies. But according to Sexton, it has protected almost nothing. The EU itself argued in court that transparency was more important than privacy. So the practical result of the bloc's flagship privacy law, in Sexton's reading, is one thing: an annoying cookie banner that pops up on every website you visit. You click accept all without reading. Everyone clicks accept all without reading. That's his read on the pattern. Brussels regulates aggressively. The regulation fails, and the regulation becomes the new normal anyway. Now, ask yourself a simple question. What device on your desk came from the EU? What app on the phone you're holding was conceived, designed, and architected in Europe? What cloud service does your business run on? If you're like most people, the answer is none. The smartphone in your pocket is American or Chinese. Its operating system, also American. The cloud platform running your email, your storage, and your work tools is almost certainly Amazon, Google, or Microsoft. None of them European. Sexton makes the point bluntly. In his framing, the world's third largest economy provides nothing the rest of the world couldn't live without. It's a striking claim about 500 million people, decades of investment, and trillions of euros in GDP. And the people in charge appear to be aware of the gap. Europe's own cybersecurity chief said it out loud. The strongest piece of evidence in Sexton's column came from inside the EU itself. Miguel de Brucker, who runs the Centre for Cybersecurity Belgium, openly admitted that storing data fully inside Europe is no longer possible. Quote, "We've lost the whole cloud. We have lost the internet. Let's be honest." That admission didn't come from a critic of the bloc. It came from one of its own cybersecurity directors. For Sexton, that's not merely a setback, but a verdict. And it's not like Brussels hasn't noticed. According to a Wall Street Journal report from late last year, the EU was proposing to roll back some of its digital laws. Why? Less regulation, more innovation. More investment, less dependence on US tech. Was Brussels admitting its rules had failed again? Regardless, the rollback never happened. Teresa Ribera, the European Commissioner for Competitiveness, said that EU competitiveness depends on not rolling back rules. The leadership cannot agree. One faction admits the rules failed, another is doubling down. For Sexton, that contradiction is the issue. So why exactly can't Europe catch up? Why doesn't Brussels see what de Brucker said out loud? According to Sexton, it comes down to the people running Europe being disconnected from reality. Most have never run a business or even held a private sector job. They are professional politicians and lifelong bureaucrats, regulating industries, he says, they have never worked in and don't understand. They focus rather on how they believe things should be, not on how things actually are. Sexton contrasts this with the competition. The US is ahead because American capital and talent move freely toward what works. China is ahead because the state directs enormous resources towards strategic capabilities at speed. Europe, by his account, is governed by committees that take years to agree on the wattage of a vacuum cleaner. By the time Brussels finishes the consultation, the rest of the world has shipped the product. You can't regulate your way to innovation, he argues. Legislation won't build a competitive cloud industry, and no rule has ever mandated the next breakthrough in artificial intelligence into existence. By the time the rules are written, the technology has moved on. The talent has left and the capital has gone elsewhere. And this is terminal, he argues, because the elite refuses to recognize it. So where does his argument leave you, as someone possibly weighing Europe as part of a residency tax or business strategy? A few things to keep in mind. Europe is not collapsing tomorrow. The third largest economy still has enormous wealth, world-class universities, and some of the most attractive special tax regimes available, including Italy's flat tax, Greece's non-dom program, and Malta's lesser-known program. There are still good reasons to spend time in Europe, but the regulatory direction has been consistent for years, and that direction is unlikely to reverse soon. Whether or not you accept Sexton's full diagnosis, the takeaway is clear. Europe is increasingly a place to live well, not a place to build the next generation of companies. This is exactly the kind of question we built IMI Sovereigns to answer. In a private online community, investors and entrepreneurs share what they're doing about all of this, including tax reduction tactics, citizenship portfolios, mobility strategies, and investment opportunities across the globe. If you are spending any meaningful time in the EU, even for pleasure, you should know exactly how Brussels is now tracking visitors. This is another topic yet critical to your privacy. Check out the video on your screen now where we cover the EU's new facial recognition system, which has already flagged 4,000 visa overstayers since launch. Subscribe and turn on notifications. We publish new analysis every single day to keep you abreast.